I cheated on my husband. Now he wants a divorce, and apparently I'm supposed to accept that our entire marriage is over because of one mistake. Betrayal Diaries here. I know this title makes me sound horrible, but I genuinely think my husband is overreacting and I need outside opinions because everyone in my life is suddenly acting like I'm some kind of villain. I'm 38, my husband is 46, and we've been married for almost 9 years. When I met him, he already owned a successful logistics company, had a beautiful house, and honestly treated me better than anyone ever had. He was calm, dependable, generous, and completely obsessed with me. And yes, before anyone says it, part of the reason I married him was because I wanted security. I grew up broke. I was tired of unstable men, unpaid bills, and constantly wondering whether rent would be covered. He gave me a comfortable life, and I gave him companionship, affection, and someone he could build a future with. I never saw anything wrong with that arrangement because plenty of marriages are built on practical things. For years, everything was fine. He spoiled me constantly. Designer bags, trips to Greece and Dubai, random jewelry, just because. If I said I liked something once, it would magically appear a week later. He never argued with me, never raised his voice, never told me no. But over the last year, something changed. He became boring. Every conversation became about work, investments, taxes, employees, meetings. He'd come home exhausted, eat dinner, sit beside me while scrolling through emails, then fall asleep before midnight. Meanwhile, I still wanted excitement. I still wanted to feel attractive. Then my friends started dragging me to rooftop parties and lounges downtown, mostly younger crowds, late 20s, early 30s. At first I felt insecure walking in there because I was older than a lot of the women. But then the attention started. Men flirted with me constantly. They called me gorgeous, elegant, mature in a dangerous way. One guy literally told me I looked better than women 10 years younger than me. I know Reddit loves pretending compliments don't matter, but they do, especially when your husband barely notices your new dress anymore. One of the men, a 31-year-old fitness trainer named Nico, started messaging me after every party. Another guy, Devin, worked in music production and had this confident personality that made me feel alive again. I told myself it was harmless. Then it became drinks after the parties, then hotel rooms. And before anyone asks, yes, I knew it was cheating. I'm not pretending otherwise. But emotionally, I didn't feel guilty at first because I still love my husband in my own way. I never planned on leaving him. I genuinely believed I could have both, stability at home and excitement elsewhere. My husband never questioned me, which honestly made it easier. He trusted me completely. Sometimes he'd even thank me for being patient while he worked late. Looking back, maybe that should have made me stop. About 3 months into the affairs, everything exploded. One morning, I woke up and immediately knew something was wrong. My phone was charging on the opposite side of the bed. The screen was unlocked. My stomach literally dropped. He already knew. I panicked and called 2 of my friends. One of them told me to cry and apologize. The other told me not to. Let a man control the narrative. Guess which advice I followed? When my husband got home that evening, he walked through the door looking completely dead inside. Not angry at first, just empty. Then he asked quietly, "How many men?" I immediately got defensive because I hate being interrogated. I told him he was acting dramatic and that clearly our marriage had problems long before this happened. He asked if I'd slept with them in our house. I said yes because I wasn't going to lie at that point. That's when he finally snapped. He started yelling about betrayal, humiliation, disrespect, saying he worked himself to death to provide for me while I was bringing strangers into our home. And honestly, something about his tone irritated me, so I told him the truth. I said maybe if he paid attention to me physically, I wouldn't have needed attention elsewhere. I reminded him that plenty of wealthy men have younger women chasing them, but I still stayed. I told him he was lucky I chose him in the first place because most women my age wouldn't tolerate his emotional absence. Then I suggested an arrangement. I said he clearly couldn't satisfy me anymore, so maybe we should open the marriage on my side only. I explained that he wasn't really interested in other women anyway, so technically nothing would change for him. Yes, I actually said that. I even told him celibacy might help him focus more on work and personal growth instead of being emotional about sex. The silence afterward was terrifying. He stared at me for a solid 10 seconds like he didn't recognize me anymore. Then he walked upstairs. I honestly thought he needed space. Instead, he came back down carrying 2 suitcases. He dropped them by the front door and said, "Get out." I laughed, because I genuinely thought he was bluffing. This man used to apologize if he accidentally bought the wrong sparkling water. He wasn't the kind of person who threw people out, but he opened the door and repeated himself louder. "Get out of my house." I told him he was being abusive and irrational. He said the house was purchased before the marriage and entirely under his name. Then he told me if I refused to leave, he'd call security from the neighborhood gate. I completely lost it. I screamed at him that he was throwing away nearly a decade together over sex. I reminded him of everything I brought to his life. I told him no woman would ever fight this hard to stay with him after being judged. He replied with something that honestly still hurts to think about. He said, "You're not fighting for me. You're fighting for the lifestyle." Then he shut the door in my face. I spent the night at my friend's condo expecting him to calm down after a day or two. Instead, he blocked my cards. Not all of them, just the ones connected to his accounts. Then his lawyer emailed me. Lawyer. Apparently, he'd already started filing for divorce. Over the next few weeks, things got even worse. Mutual friends stopped inviting me places. One couple literally canceled dinner plans after hearing his side. My own sister told me I sounded narcissistic. Meanwhile, my husband transformed into someone I don't even recognize anymore. He started going to the gym, posting travel photos alone, smiling again. One of his employees uploaded pictures from a company event, and women in the comments were openly flirting with him. And the most infuriating part, he ignores me now. Completely. No screaming, no emotional texts, nothing. I've shown up at the house twice and security wouldn't let me in. I've sent long messages explaining that marriages survive affairs all the time. I even told him I was willing to compromise and stop seeing other men if he'd just act like a husband again. No response. Last week, I finally got one single text from him after nearly a month of silence. It said, "You didn't cheat because you were unhappy. You cheated because you thought I'd never leave. And now I can't stop thinking about it because maybe there's some truth there. But I still think he's overreacting by destroying an entire marriage instead of trying therapy first." My friends are split. Some say he's cruel for abandoning me so quickly. Others say I completely destroyed his self-respect and expected him to tolerate it. I honestly don't know anymore. Did I really deserve to be thrown out and divorced over this? Or is he being extreme after everything we built together?